Alright, so for our first sky replacement, we are going to be using a tool called the marquee tool. Now it's just basically a rectangular tool, and you can also use an elliptical one, a single row one, and a single column one. What I recommend is using the rectangular one for replacing skies, so we're going to do that. Our image is over here, make sure it's unlocked, and so we're just going to drag it across here. Now if you are using this image, then we're going to drag it all the way above the arch. If you're using your own image, just try and get it above the horizon line if you can, like so. We're going to hit Shift Command I or Shift Control I to invert that because we want to keep this in the image. We do not want to remove that. So we're going to hit the layer mask, and voila, it's removed. Now we want to get rid of that harsh line, so go up to the flow and hit 40%. The flow is kind of the strength of the brush and how much pressure we're putting on it. Now, white is to reveal, black is to hide, so make sure your color is on white when you're brushing over on your layer mask. And I'm just going to brush a straight line by holding Shift. And that should be good. Alright, and in my Finder, we have a sky, so I'm actually going to use this cool Milky Way. Now, we want to have it underneath our photo so we can move it around and stretch it out and stuff like that. So I'm just going to quickly go ahead and scale it. Alright, and I really like that. It's kind of cool. I'm going to title this Milky Way. Now, I'm not going to color correct or do any of that because that can be for a different tutorial. This is simply a sky replacement. But what I am going to do is I'm going to show you how to kind of like touch up this area of the removed sky. So what we're going to do actually is hit hue and saturation, clip it to our image, and go to like maybe -30. That should be good. And we're going to kind of change the hue a bit. So we're going to go a little like that. Now we don't want to mess with this image. We only want to mess with that horizon line. So hit Command or Control I on our keyboard to invert that. Make sure your flow is at 100%. Increase your brush size and just brush over like so. And then we're also going to do a color balance. We're going to kind of match the color a little bit of the other sky. Again, Command I, brush, like so. Alright, now we're going to go back into the image, and all we're going to do is maybe go down to flow with 50% and hit black so we remove a little bit, and we're just going to do it like that. Now this works perfectly, and what we're going to do is go to 10% on our flow and kind of create like a haze effect over it. That's a little bit too much, so let's go ahead and go back up to 100 and add it back in. So it looks pretty good. Alright, so we got this. We removed that and we added it in our new sky. And of course, the more you go and blend and everything together, it can create one seamless look. Alright, now for the second method, we're going to be using a tool called the gradient tool. Now the gradient tool is a really cool way to just kind of drag in your image a little bit above the sky. Now I often use this just for like harder sky replacements, aka using like a San Francisco bridge where I don't really want to remove the lines or just brush out the sky individually by each line. Now, what we're going to do is bring in the sky we want. I like this kind of cloud sky that I have, and it's kind of cool, so I'm just going to adjust it to my liking, stretch it out. Now we're going to title the sky. Now for this one, we do want to make sure the sky is above the original image. Hit the layer mask and press Command or Control I, which again, inverts. G on your keyboard, and let's actually go into it and hit the gradient tool. So we're going to want to go to one like that. Perfect. And make sure your opacity is around 30. We're going to kind of add the sky in a bit. That's looking pretty good. Get one big one like that. Alright, now we're going to take the brush tool, flow at 100. And we're going to just erase all the unnecessary stuff. Now, I'm showing you just a little portion of one sky, but if you continue the same method, you can add more skies in, and you can go ahead and create something like this. Alright, the third and final method is probably my favorite one that I absolutely love to do. And the reason being is because of how much detail you can get out when replacing the sky. Now, me saying that means that I want to take out this entire sky, but there's a lot going on in the foreground. There's the palm trees, there's some of this mountainous island over here. Again, there's more palm trees. There's some of the bushes with all that around. So what are we going to do? We're going to go into this little tab called channels. Now with RGB selected, it has all the colors, but you want to click individually and find one with the most contrast. For me, I found blue as the best one. So what we're going to do is hold Alt Option on our keyboard and drag and drop it into a new layer and just hit OK. Now we're going to press Command or Control L on our keyboard and it brings up the levels. And we're going to drag this slider all the way up so we can kind of blow out the sky and create this white background. Now we also want to try and get all the contrast back in by making it black, like so. Alright, now let's do some touch-ups. For our brush, we're going to make sure that the flow is at 100, opacity is 100, but the blend mode this time at overlay. And we're just going to brush over the areas that we want to have removed with white. Now, switch. Brush over all the areas that are black. Now if you don't get a lot of it, that is okay. I'm going to show you how to fix that in a sec. Alright, that is looking good. So what we're going to do is Command click on this layer, bring all of these on, turn that copy layer off, go back into layers and hit the layer mask tool. Now Command or Control I for invert. Let's create a new layer so that we can try and see what we need to fix. And so we're just going to create a fill using the paint bucket tool so we can see what we need to bring back in. I'm going to make it a bit brighter. And we're going to make sure that the blend mode is back on normal on the brush. And we're going to reveal. And we're just going to brush over all the areas that need to be fixed. So I'm just going to hold shift and bring this back in. And even if some of the light bleeds a little bit, that is fine. So what we're going to do is make sure we drag and drop our sky underneath. And I'm just going to add something simple like this. And we have that. And surprisingly, some of this haze over here near the original horizon on the original image kind of blends well with that. Now in a future tutorial, I will show you guys how to take away some of this fringe because there's a lot of fringe on the palm trees and other areas. But as you can see, this is the original image, and when I turn it off, we have officially replaced the sky. And that is the fastest and easiest way to replace the sky when you have a lot going on in the foreground. Alright, I really hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial, and if you did, please go ahead and comment on something you learned about it. Go ahead and tag me at visualsofhunter on basically something that you have edited, because I'd love to critique your work. I'd love to share it on my Instagram. Please like the video if you enjoyed it, and also please help support this channel by subscribing. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.